Some of you have been here a while now and might know that I'm a pretty lazy man. But how on earth can you have a healthy diet that's also easy and convenient? Well, if you live in the US, it is your lucky day because I've got the perfect solution for you. Factor offers you the chance to get fresh, ready-made meals delivered directly to your doorstep. They're never frozen, they're full of high quality ingredients and packed with nutritional value too. It even offers meals for those following different lifestyles and diets. So what are you waiting for? Go and click that lovely link at the top of the description now. You'll get plenty of money off your first order with Factor and some off the few after too. You'd be a fool to miss out on an opportunity like that. Well, we're back today almost purely for you to help me make a decision because I'm back a few weeks before the Premier League season is due to start. There is a potential job offer on the way. I think I'm going to take it, but it leaves me with more than one decision. You'll see what I mean in a minute, but I'm going to need your help with this one. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 99 of the Head Coach with me, Daniel. As you can see, we are back in late July and we are still at Crystal Palace, mainly because of that news item on the right-hand side, which is scandalous. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer returns to Manchester United. We were rejected in place of him. He goes back to United for a second spell. Let's not forget, by the way, in addition to his failure at United in the end, and other managers doing better since, he's also gone to Watford, got them relegated with a very good team, and then brought them back up again. He's also been at Burnley, finished bottom of the Premier League and gone back up, so maybe United are going down next year, I don't know. But he has been hired by Manchester United, a manager who has just won the Championship after getting that club relegated, when they'd been regulars in the top 10 prior to that. He has got the job ahead of me when I have been finishing in the European places with Crystal Palace. I don't understand it. But I digress at the minute. We've not managed to get a club job offer, as shown by the fact that we're still here with Palace. And if we go and have a look at what's going on, there's not a lot available now. It's been a very quiet summer on the job front again, certainly at that elite top level. What I want to show you though, is this job offer. I hope you're looking forward to it, because we have been offered the England manager's job. Now, we've got a bit of a checkered past with that in the Head Coach. We took it in FM21 after a brilliant career, and it led to our first sacking of the save, our only sacking of the save. We didn't get offered it last year, and now we are back with it again. The English manager's job is not one you can really turn down as a Premier League English manager. I feel it would be unrealistic to turn down both the national team job and 87 grand a week when you're not playing that many games, quite frankly. We can all agree on that. What we've got to then agree on is what we do with our club job. Now, in the short term, for one season, particularly with it not being a major international summer next year, I'm not that worried about keeping the Palace job. But is it realistic for me, in the longer term future, to say I'm going to be a Premier League manager and manage the England national team? I mean, we're talking Mark Hughes with Blackburn and Wales back in the early 2000s here. I don't remember seeing it at the top level since. So what I want to know is the answer to this question. We're going to take the England job. We're going to have a look today at what players we've got to work with, what tactic we're going to pick with them. We are definitely going to be England manager. I think you'll all agree that is a realistic move. What I want you to judge though is, should I resign from Palace? I am not going to progress beyond my first day in the England job today. But if we're being realistic in this save, I wouldn't be able to do both jobs. Should I retire from Palace, or resign from Palace, sorry, manage the England team, see how we get on? That is the golden question of the day. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. But for now, let's go and get the England job. 87 grand a week. Antonio Conte, the man going out. And this is an England team that, if you have a look at the summer, has just lost to the Netherlands in the World Cup final. They had a remarkably friendly run, as you can see, following a second round win against Argentina. You see Denmark, Ukraine and the USA were beaten. And now they're through to the final, which they lost. They're in the European Nations League Group A. They're going to have two repeats of the World Cup final against the Netherlands, but Austria and Slovakia should be winnable games. Don't forget, in this save, most of the European leagues are loaded, so it's not just going to be a walkover. But there are a lot of great young players in this squad. So we're going to go and take the job. No doubt we accept it. The national team has come calling. Here we are. We are the manager of England. What a moment for a young English manager. Now let's go and see how we can get on. We're playing at Wembley. We're currently ranked first in the world. Netherlands only fifth despite their World Cup win. Love the FIFA rankings, don't we? The main aim of today is to see what staff and what players we've got to work with at England. And look at the hot prospects on the right. Young Chris Lewis made his debut a month or so ago. And at the moment, he is a bit of a superstar. Let's go and have a look at the next screen. What else do we get there? Not a lot, really. A brief introduction to international management. It would allow me to get through a couple of years quickly, and we have to do the realistic thing for the most part. But what do we do now with Palace? Don't worry as well, we will have a little look at them later on, see what transfer work's been done, all of that sort of stuff. But for now, we are talking about managing our national team, one of the greatest honours you can have in football. And while a lot of the staff is still the same as the Gareth Southgate era, we've got Chris Powell involved. He's been there. Lee Carsley is still the under-21 manager. Ashley Cole is still going strong. And Jolyon Lescott is in there too, an under-21s coach. Lots of interesting names. Let's see what other staff are there at the minute. Ian Foster, under-20s manager. No, don't know him. Tim Dittmer, I recognise. He used to be a non-league keeper. Where was he? I remember the name from somewhere. Maybe he was just available as a free agent early in the save. I don't know. Definitely recognise that name from the very early FMs. Other than that, we've got a bit of room to add one or two more, and we've been working with some great ones at Palace who have followed us one or two clubs now, thanks to our director of football, so we'll try and get them involved. Maybe I should bring Dougie Freedman into the mix. That would be a laugh, wouldn't it? But let's go and have a look at the squad, because I wanted to show you what sort of players we're working with England. We've just had a World Cup, so a few of those older boys are just over the hill now, probably coming to the end of an era. You look at the likes of Oliver Skipp, I don't know why he's in there, but Ramsdale, Foden, mid-30s, declining and not as good as the rest of the squad now. You go further down into the 20s and there are a lot of good players, including Chris Lewis from Crystal Palace. In addition to him, there is another superstar, which is a Crystal Palace Academy player. That man is Henry Ocon, who went from Watford to United, who is a superstar. And he is an absolute world-class striker. So great to have him as an option. This is the level of player we're talking about. Henry Ocon is a star of this team. Tom Stansfield, right back and centre-half from Manchester City. Model professional, world-class footballer. Probably a right back because he's not even 6 foot and he's not the best in the air. But we have got real world-class talent here. Hafizul Cloudesdale always scores against us for Liverpool. He is a world-class winger as well. Plays off the right, him ahead of Stansfield. There's not a better right wing in football, surely. You even add into that Tino Livramento, only 31 years of age, still an elite fullback. Bukayo Saka at 32, still an absolute monster off the left or the right. I mean, there's a really good squad to work with here. Jude Bellingham's in his prime and he is as good as you probably expect him to be. And even in midfield aside from that, Jabari Roberts from Chelsea, absolute gem of a player. Proper physical monster, technically very good on the defensive side and mentally absolutely sublime. Can play centre-half, centre-mid or the holding role. I mean, there's just so many options. There's a 28-year-old goalkeeper who will be a star for years to come. He's playing at Leipzig, bizarrely. Don't know what he's doing out in Germany when there's Premier League clubs with average goalkeepers. In addition to those, you've got a few of the proper superstar youngsters from the original save, like who were 16, 17, 18. So you've got Emre Tezgel. He was at Stoke at the start, was he? He's now a superstar striker playing for Liverpool. God, they've got a lot of this team, haven't they? Alfie Devine at 29, a name that always pops up in FM saves. He started at Tottenham and Wigan. Look at him now, world-class centre midfielder. And then even Dane Scarlett at 30, superstar at Chelsea. Scored plenty of Premier League goals against us. So it is a very good England team. It is a job that we had to take. And it's a job where I feel we can take this squad to the next level. I mean, even the under-21s, there's quality players in there with big potential. And if you keep going down the ages, look at that 17-year-old, 2-star ability, 5-star potential, Manchester City wonder kid striker. Under-19s, you've got another one, 15 years of age, with 5-star potential in Declan Atkinson. And then under-18s, well, that's not quite so good at the minute. We won't worry about that for now. The big job for us is to make sure we don't get sacked. We've got a Euros coming in 2 years. We've got the Nations League in the meantime. I want to get this squad into a good position because I don't want to fail as England manager every time we get the job. We've only had the luxury twice in the history of the head coach, and I don't intend for it to go the same way as the first time around. I just want to have a quick look at the national pool, just to see if there's anyone else of real quality who's not in the squad at the minute. If we get them in star ability order, I'm just trying to see if any of these names aren't there at the minute. We know Chris Lewis is a superstar. I don't think there are any other big ones. So a lot of those players in their mid-30s just passing through the squad now. Sancho and Rice not in there at the moment. They're mid-30s. We are coming to this changing of the guard where the likes of Adrian Smith, for an example, not a bad player at 3-star ability. Jonah Hodgkinson, good centre midfielder. These are the players that are now coming into the squad. And if they're 3-star ability, we've got a world-class squad, haven't we? I think there's no denying that. So that is the big dilemma for today. We've got the big honour of managing our national team, but do we do it alone or do we do it alongside Crystal Palace? I don't want you to tell me from an FM point of view, which will benefit me more. We're going from a realism and probably a pressure point of view. Should we take away the Crystal Palace job? Because I don't feel like that is a realistic move to do both for the long term. Maybe we can do it for one season and get away with it while there's not big games in the offing. But when we're coming around to international tournaments, I need to be watching everyone play, don't I? And that's going to be my priority. So maybe I'm making my own decision in my head now, but let me know what you think in the comments. In the meantime, while we do that, and while you make your decision for me, we're going to have a look at what's been happening at Palace, because maybe that will help you make your mind up too. Lots of money in the club and lots of big news as well, because there is a big bit of Klaxon news here. If we go to the Premier League table from last season and we have a look at how it finished with us in 5th, we have been given Champions League football. And it's part of the reason why, if I'm being honest, I just want to hold on for one more year. Because I want to see if we can get them on a run in the Champions League. Or alternatively, do we drop into the Europa League and then maybe go on a run in that? The problem comes with the transfer work this summer, because if we have a look at what's going on, there's currently a loan deal being negotiated for Alperen Kuru. He is a right back who is pretty good and would fill a void in the squad, certainly after Hurley was sold in January. Very similar player. We go and have a look at the transfer history though. A few players in, 2 of which you knew about already, and a few players out, including 1 or 2 very big names. For that news, we have to go back to the end of last season, because one of the first men out at the start of the window, just 5 days into it in fact, was Charlie Setford, the first choice goalkeeper. He's gone over to Saudi Arabia to play for Al Hilal, but it is a bit of a concern because he was an absolute gem. What wasn't so much of a concern was his replacement, because not long after, we go back again to the end of last season, the first signing was Paulo. He is a Bournemouth goalkeeper. I know we've got a bit of history with them. 16.25 million, Brazilian under-23 international of the past. And he's probably a slight upgrade if we're being honest. Knows the language already from being here for 2.5 years. Is a very good keeper, is bigger, is more physical, is better in the air, is better with his hands as well. And he's even a better kicker. So while he's not a superstar, while compared to the squad he's not brilliant, I'd argue he's a pretty good keeper. I'm wondering why he's popping up there with a 2.5 star. Is he eligible for England? I'm just trying to work it out. No, he's not. I don't know why it's like that. But yeah, he is an upgrade on Setford. Just maybe not as settled, which is going to be the issue. But a very good goalkeeper regardless. We had Andrea Volpe, a youngster from Juve, who has actually got a bit of potential and a good personality. He's not going to make it anytime soon. Amane Keita has gone out on the other side of that. He goes to Torino in Serie A on loan. And I think other than that, it's just been youngsters or reserves going out. So Sean Jones, who signed last summer, he's gone on loan to Huddersfield. A couple of others, including AD Swanson, have as well. And in their place are 2 players who we had pre-agreed from last year. Bois was on loan the second half of last season. He now joins as backup left back. We've got Eric Amoa Hagen, who is now the backup right winger to Hames. We've got Marco Daniel Cassiano from Estoril, who is a left winger, a natural left winger. Spasov hasn't gone yet, which is my immediate thought, and Campbell hasn't gone either. So he is basically just playing as our third choice left winger and as a player who doesn't really fit the tactic. So bit of a bizarre signing, but a very good player, and I immediately assume that Spasov will go at some point. And then the final signing, bit more of an experienced one, not what Dougie's normally been doing, but Samuel Ricci from Inter Milan, 32 years of age, Italian international, and a very good midfielder. Probably our equivalent of Conor Gallagher from last year, as he's now beginning to decline. So the work being done so far by Dougie is good. There is no doubt in that this squad has improved overall. It's certainly bolstered in terms of numbers as well. But it still needs 1 or 2 more defenders. There's still a few standouts on the negative side, Valet from January, he's not going to make it. I've been trying to retrain him as a centre mid, but he's just not got the quality. And then even the likes of Bois now maybe aren't good enough to be a backup. So the squad's a little thin. There's not a quality to compete in the Champions League and in all the other competitions too. And I just wonder, with the pressure now of being England manager, whether I stick with both or just try and put my focus on the national team. You are going to be a real big influence in my decision here. And it's only about one season. I know eventually next year I'm going to have to make my mind up either way. It will either start really badly at England or Crystal Palace will come to its natural conclusion. But I'm looking at it as well and thinking, well, in May, I would have been devastated to be here in August still. The United job, I had my heart set on. They've got the likes of Ocon, those brilliant players, and they've not been able to give us a job. They've rejected us for a championship manager. I mean, how on earth do we contemplate what we do next after that? We've got Spassov in the club still, but for how long? Do I even make the decision yet? Do I wait until right on the eve of the season? But I feel that's unfair on Palace. What then happens if they sell the likes of Lewis, Rodrigo Ribeiro, Teo and Rodolfo to centre halves? Do I then get left in a bit of a mess right at the last minute? There are so many thoughts going through my head on this one, and I really don't know what to go for. But have a little look at the job centre now, just so I can show you. It is almost exclusively international jobs, and there were a few that came up, but we've got to go for our home nation and the World Cup finalists. And if we have a look at the job security, obviously the Watford job's up now because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer left. It's been really stable again this summer. You had Atletico Madrid right at the start, Lazio was there as well, and Manchester United. But nothing else has even been that insecure. We've got Chelsea, we've got Newcastle, we've got Tottenham, who didn't do brilliantly last year, but they've all got into decent competitions. Even Juventus, there was a lot of talk about that last year, and in the end, nothing really came to fruition. And I can't really work out why, looking at the end of their year, because they didn't get any better towards the end of the season. Are they even in a competition this year as well? I'm going to have a look. We go to the facilities. In fact, no, we want to go to the general, don't we? They're in the Europa League, so maybe that's what's kept them safe. They've still got Vlahovic as well, which suggests they've got a pretty old squad. There's a lot of over 30s there, but I guess that's more common with Italian football. So I'm in a little bit of a mess at the minute. My head's going in a few different directions. I'm delighted to have the England job. I know it's the right move. It's the realistic move for this save. There are so many quality players, even in that sort of 3-star bracket. You looked at Hodgkinson, who's from United, and you think, how is that a 3-star player? He is world class. Lewis Parsons as a defender, exactly the same. And you keep going down. Not often you see accents in the English names, but I tell you what, a very good player there. Where's his heritage from? He is England or the Faroe Islands. I tell you what, he's got 10 caps for the Faroes. That is so harsh from England. He could have been their greatest ever player. That's incredibly harsh. If I was in the San Marino save, thinking of that side of things, oh, I'd be gutted from a Faroes point of view. We've got a great squad. We've got a great chance to win with England. And in the Nations League group, well, second is a bare minimum. And the only other side we're up against is the World Cup finalists. Nothing scheduled for the qualifiers for the Euros yet. I'd expect us to sail through them. But what do you think of the Palace job? I know it's not the longest episode. It's not our most informative one. But I need your help with it. 3 options. Do I go from Palace now? Do I go from Palace at the end of the year? Or do I stick with both jobs for the long term? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you did enjoy this quick recap, seeing us take a new job, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM23 content from 2 long-term stories. We'll be back with our Build a Nation tomorrow. Bit more of a conventional episode there, but certainly not any less dramatic. There is an awful lot going on this season. And then we'll be back on Monday after I've taken your comments into account and hopefully I've made a decision on my future as Crystal Palace manager. Thank you very much for your help in advance. I do appreciate it. In the meantime, before you find out what I decide to do, there's links in the eye above to the football podcast, the Twitch channel and the blog story as well. If you're in the US, do check out the new sponsor in a link below. Loads of money off your first order from Factor. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your help in advance. And I'll see you in a couple of days' time to find out and decide definitively what we're going to do in this save.